The Buffalo Bills claimed victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last Thursday night, and it's time for a deep dive into that win. And UPL posts a shutout on the so-called hottest team in hockey right now, all with the usual hot takes and more. This is the Buffalonian podcast. All right, let's go. We are back with the Buffalonian podcast. I'm Joe Kelly, and as always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Loss. And Dom, we talked about it on Friday. We did a mini recap of the Bills' win against the Buccaneers. Came down to the Hail Mary at the end. It was unsuccessful for the Bucs, so the Bills take the victory after a couple lackluster offensive starts. And we're going to dive into a little more the highlights, the Dom 5 you're going to get today. But Dom, just recap. Any other lingering thoughts after this game's marinated a little bit after the past couple days? After watching the slate on Sunday, I should say, and Monday.
The Bills got the job done. Obviously, it's a big game coming up against Cincinnati that we'll preview on Friday. But no, I'm ready to kick it with some video analysis and the Dom 5. But again, the Bills needed to win. It didn't kind of matter. The style points at this stage of the game for me doesn't mean a whole lot. Obviously, it was nice to see that this was kind of an offensive breakout game from the slump that they've had for the past 2 weeks. And now, honestly, it's all about stacking offensive performances up at this point. You know, you saw that what they're capable of early in the season. You saw what they're capable last week. It's now, can they do that for a full 60 minutes?
Right.
And can they do that consistently week in, week out? And, next week they play, obviously, the Bengals, and the Bengals have a solid defense, but it's definitely a defense that this performance can, happen. They could continue to go on this because I think the Bucs and Bengals have similar-ish defenses where I think they're maybe average to above average, but they're definitely not elite.
No, and this is a big game as well. Seeing how the playoffs ended last year and getting smacked at home. So we'll talk more about that on Friday, though. If we are ready, I think it's time for some rolling of the highlights. So let's take a deep dive here. We're going to look at all the scoring plays, all the touchdowns on the day. First, we're going to kick it off. He puts the cape on. You know who I'm talking about. Superman, Josh Allen. He does it himself. Zigzags. Oh, pump fake, even though he's way past the line of scrimmage. Gets right in. Stares down a defensive back as he just points the ball over the line. Absolute savage. He's back. I mean, look at that. Look at that. The camaraderie, the fans going crazy. Beach balls. Snowing here today as we're filming this, so it's crazy. But look at him just eye down. Look at that savage at him. Just eyed him down and went for it. I mean, that's the Josh Allen we're used to seeing. The one who did this against the Dolphins, the running in and doing that. And it's good to see the offense kind of get back in that rhythm, like you said, and get in the end zone for the score. So Allen doing it himself to start off the game gets the fellas motivated. Someone else does it, though, for the first time in the season and their career. Dalton Kincaid is going to get the touchdown pass on 3rd and 12. And let's just, take it in. Dalton Kincaid masterclass here. Just absolutely burns past the defensive back, jumps into the stands. Mafia welcomes him into the end zone for the first time this season and in his career. Looks a little scared after he's being grabbed like that. But, how could you not be? Everyone's all excited. Allen swings out to the right here. And Kincaid hasn't been targeted crazy amount during the season, but when he has, he's been locked down right there, running with Allen, gets open for the touchdown. Can't ask for anything more out of a rookie tight end, especially when he's the only active, healthy tight end on the roster. And that's what you drafted Kincaid for, and you saw it in practice right there. And now, I think there's someone they call Big Game Gabe, right? I think we've seen him too. They spread the ball around. Everyone got a piece of this pie. Allen to Davis, fading into the end zone. Boom. Uncovered, just by himself. I mean, it was unreal to see that and see how many times Allen really did spread the ball around. I think this was a career high in receptions from different receivers from him. Davis is just burned in the end zone. He's alone. That's Gabe Davis. I mean, we saw that. That's the type of touchdowns we're seeing out of him in that Chiefs game. Breaking ankles, getting open in the end zone, disguising himself, getting out of there. And listen, like you said, and like I said, it came down to the Hail Mary at the end, unfortunately, right? After seeing these great highlights, you think, oh, they blew him out. There was no way, right? It came down to the end, unfortunately, but it was a bounce back, like you said, confidence builder win for the Bills. They needed this win, no matter what. If it was ugly, not as ugly as the Giants win, but it was a duel after a while, and they got it done at the end of the day. So it's all you can ask for, right?
Yeah, I mean they unlocked Josh's legs a little bit.
Yep.
Obviously, we're gonna see it with the 10-day mini bye. If that shoulder heals up a little bit more, where we see a little bit more of that, obviously getting Kincaid a little bit more involved. Last 2 games, 13 catches for 140 and a tud. Obviously, that's big time fantasy football production for a certain person in the room.
Yeah, 17.5 points from a tight end. Look at that. Come on.
Yeah, and that's insane production from the tight end position, but it's kind of the guy that we always thought he was going to be when they got drafted. It's bizarre that it took them
8 weeks, 7 weeks, really
6 weeks, because week 7 was like his technically. So it's weird that it took a month and a half into the season to finally kind of unlock this, but I think that's a long time coming, and I think for Allen now to trust Kincaid is massive for the future of the team throughout the season, and obviously through many seasons after that. And
did you hear what he called him after the game?
Who?
Kincaid.
Josh called Kincaid
stupid rookie, but stupid. He said stupid fucking rookie in the press conference. They call him SFRs. That's because he got the ball for him, and Kincaid just didn't get the ball for his first touchdown. So he said, even though he's an SFR, we're gonna see. The trust is it's building between them.
I wonder if that's gonna be a Grape Davis shirt.
It might be a Grape Davis SFR with Kincaid's face on it. Come on, that'd be cool.
But again, he's developed the last 2 weeks. I think PFF said he has an 80.0 receiving grade, which is the highest on the team. I think he's just starting to get a little bit more comfortable. I think, obviously, you never want anyone to suffer a concussion.
Right.
I'm making that point now, but sometimes missing a game and seeing a game from a different perspective, we see this all the time in hockey. I think that might have helped open some stuff up for Kincaid, like taking the game off and just focusing on the little details and seeing from a different perspective of not having to be playing, but watching the game and still being a part of the team. So maybe that week off really rejuvenized him, and it's good to see. It's also good to see Gabe Davis come alive a little bit in the short passing game. Obviously, it's not like his skill set, but I think he showed that he could do it. And obviously, Khalil Shakur.
Yes,
we were pounding the table after last week, the week before, of we think this guy separated himself from wide receiver. Obviously, we had a Dom 5 about. Is it over? Is the experience over?
Is the Khalil Shakir experience done?
Because he was awful in training camp and he wasn't getting a lot of opportunity. But I think you do have to respect his ability to as a blocker. That's what earned him the app. It's a great lesson for anyone looking to get a role in football. Is Khalil Shakur got playing time because he was willing to do the blocking and the dirty work, and then he started now get opportunities in the passing game, and then when he made plays in the passing game, he's going to get more opportunities because of the trust of Josh. So it's a little disappointing because I thought we would think maybe Trent Sherfield will kind of have this role of being the blocking wide receiver in the slot and then getting plays, but it seems like Shakir's really outplayed him, and I mean obviously it has, and
we're seeing some Deontay Hardy out there as well, which is nice as well.
Well, he's just an auxiliary piece. He's a secondary piece. But I think the main pieces of going forward of Diggs, Davis, Kincaid, Shakir, and Cook are going to be the main pieces of the offense going forward. And then the Knoxes of the world, the Hardys of the world, the Sherfields, the Latavius Murrays, or now Leonard Fournette. They're going to be like side pieces that may have impact on the team, but they're not going to be. The offense won't funnel through them, so it's very exciting. But I think with that being said,
it's time. I'm so excited.
The weekly segment.
I've been waiting since Thursday. Come on, this is the longest I've had to wait.
Yeah, carry on to waiting all day for the Dom 5.
Oh my God, we need to make a remix of it for you.
Yeah, I know. My singing voice has already got people to get off the stream, but that's okay. Here we go. Sorry. Distraction ski. Josh Allen bounces back. I think Josh wasn't awful against the Pats. It wasn't obviously to the degree of the Jets game, but I think he played a pretty helpful hand in why they lost in New England. Obviously throwing that stupid interception, not seeing the field particularly well on some plays, not setting the protections right. He had a bounce back game, over 300 yards, nearly 75% completion percentage, 2 touchdowns. The interception was an unfortunate play. Obviously, he ran for about another 30 and another tut on the ground. So my man bounced back in a big way, and he has a big-time matchup coming up against Joe Burrow. Kind of, maybe that is a new rivalry that is forming. They've only squared off once officially, and
listen, the way last season went, unfortunately, the first matchup you didn't get to see much of due to the unfortunate Damar Hamlin incident that occurred on the field. But the playoffs, I mean, the Bills got battered by him. So this could be a brewing rivalry between the two, AFC rival maybe.
And the biggest question that we will have to ask ourselves on Friday and we'll discuss is this the best quarterback matchup of the weekend?
I would say so.
Mahomes and Tua, Hurts and Prescott.
Listen, okay.
Dak's played well.
Dak's played well, but I'm already seeing Dak's better than Mahomes, Tua, Allen. Like, no.
I'm just saying. He's got to be included. But on to number 2 of the down 5. Sam Martin has a career day. One would say a performance of a lifetime.
Yes.
Obviously, it's quite unfortunate that his last punt went for a touchback because it was a beauty. Mm-hmm. I think he was feeling himself a little bit and could have maybe got a fair catch at the 10 or maybe punted out of bounds, so it was for sure outside the 20, sure, but you would have wished Saran Neal for how much money they're paying him for special teams would have downed that, but so many cough-on punts. It's the reason why I was okay with McDermott being very conservative throughout the game is because Sam Martin was doing his job. It wasn't like the Tampa Bay was consistently starting at the 20. You consistently put them inside the 5. Obviously, we got disappointed when they got it at the 8 on a muff. So,
yeah, if you're getting disappointed when it's put at the 8-yard line, you know you're having a good day. And we talked about that on Friday, too. That was...
Hey, listen, we give punters some love on the Buffalonian.
Except Matt Hawk. That's the only one that we have not, and still continue not to.
Yes, continue not to. Sorry. Third of the down 5. The Kaiir Elam situation grows dire.
Yeah.
I don't have to make of this anymore. It's a situation where we're an injury away from Josh Norman probably playing meaningful snaps on boundary corner.
Hey, he had a good day.
It's the reason why I am fully on board with them maybe making a move for corner, even if it's as small as, I know people are going to hate this, but as small as Levi Wallace for like a 6th-round pick. Like adding someone that knows the system and can at least step in and be, maybe not even be good, but at least like know the system and wouldn't feel completely awful. You feel bad that he's out there, but not awful. And I don't know. It's a situation where now Kaiir just doesn't play special teams. And if you're not going to play special teams, you're not going to find a role as a backup position player on this team. So I think that's the biggest thing from that. I don't think it's a benching from necessarily like they think Josh Norman is a better cornerback than Kaiir, but I think they think Josh Norman is a better overall contributor to the team right now than Kaiir because of his special teams ability. And you saw that with the kickoff return tackle, and then he made another one in special teams as well. So
he took that stiff arm by Derrick Henry to heart.
It is frustrating, though. It's a situation where I'd like Kaiir to still be out there, still be active to try and get something, because at that point you're just selling really low on him. I don't think they're going to trade him at the deadline. We talk all this time about Brandon Beane talking about Wyatt Teller, and they think they gave up too early on him. I think they're going to stick with him, especially because he's cheap, too. So at that point, trading him for a 5th-round pick is just kind of, I don't know, he's cheap at this point. He's on less salary already for next year, 2 years, because and you could give him. I'm not going to pick up his option for sure, but they're going to keep him. It's a situation that I don't know how it becomes positive for the Bills, but I guess it's wait and see. On to number 4, the down 5. Dawson Knox equals Wally Pipp. Do you know who Wally Pipp is?
I've heard of Wally Pipp. I don't know if I can call off the top of my head what.
Shocker, the bandwagon Yankee fan doesn't know who Wally Pipp is.
It's not a bandwagon, okay? Listen, my family is full of Yankees fans.
The Red Sox fan knows who Wally Pipp is.
Listen, Okay.
I'll give you the rundown.
Just give me the rundown of Wally Pipp. I don't know
rundown.
who Wally Pipp is.
Whoa. I don't know. That's like a highlighted word from the previous pods.
Okay, give me a workup on who Wally Pipp is.
Wally Pipp, first baseman for the Yankees during the Babe Ruth era, was like, you know what? Not feeling it today. Back's a little tight. First baseman, I'm going to call it. I'm going to take the day off. Probably could play if I wanted to, but I'm going to take the day off.
You mean Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, let's let this backup schmuck Lou Gehrig play first base.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, Lou Gehrig played first base for 2,000 straight games after that. Wally Pipp never got a starting spot back.
No.
So sorry for Dawson Knox, but you are Wally Pipp. The next game that Dawson Knox is active, he should have a Wally Pipp jersey on. I don't even know the number Wally Pipp wore, but
you wouldn't even know it's his jersey, honestly, because they don't wear names on the back.
Also incredibly accurate. That's why your franchise is a bunch of losers. But you can't even grow a beard. Come on now.
Police officers can't grow anything but a mustache either. What are you saying?
Okay, well, you're comparing a baseball team to a police officer?
It's respect. It's respect. Come on.
Class.
Class.
Back where I was.
Back where I was
before we got distracted, of course. Dalton Kincaid has taken over tight end 1. He's a situation where the Bills have been solid in 12 personnel. They've been solid in 11 personnel. It's not. I don't know where people get the notion that they're just awful in 12 when they're really good in 11.
They killed the Dolphins in 12 personnel.
They're good in both. Mm-hmm. I think it's a situation, though, when they start running 11 personnel, the tight end that stays on the field should be Dalton Kincaid instead of Dawson Knox. And that's just how it's going to go, I think, for the rest of the year. And
it's kind of hard to tell which one with the numbers, though, sometimes. I'm like, who's down?
I still think for Knox it's a situation where he's still going to be a piece of the offense. I just think he's going to be a secondary piece, as I alluded to earlier.
Yeah.
They can't move off of him. He's going to be on the team next year. It's a situation where even if they cut him post-July 1st or trade him post-July 1st, just at that point it's just not worth the dead cap that they would have to have for that. So he's going to be on the team next year, and he's not an awful player. Like, Dawson Knox is a solid player. Do I think his contract, is he not living up to his contract? Yes. Do I think his replacement is better than him? Yes. I think Dalton Kincaid is a better tight end than offers more to the team than Dawson Knox.
Blocking he can contribute Knox. More at the end of the day.
Blocking is still Knox, but I think the difference, I just think Kincaid is just special.
You have upside with Kincaid, a lot of upside.
There's a special difference with Dalton Kincaid as a receiver. But going on to the next, and I miscounted, but I think this is fifth.
I think you're
final.
on 5.
Okay,
I think this is
the Wally Pipp thing.
The final.
Can the holes on defense be fixed? So I think we saw a unique way of filling the linebacker hole of, hey, Dorian Williams, Tyrell Dodson, can you guys be productive on early downs, do solid in the run game, on early down passes, not be completely picked apart as liability, and then on third down, knowing passing downs, we are going to put Taylor Rapp in, and we're going to put Jordan Poyer in the box as the linebacker.
I love that.
I think that is a unique idea. And now Dan Larski on ESPN was like, I don't know if they start getting run on that. I was like, I think that'll be fine because I think their plan is not to permanently put Poyer down. I think Poyer will be a situational linebacker.
Yeah, when you know it's a passing
down. When it's 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, Jordan Poyer will be in the box as the linebacker, and on 1st and 2nd down, you're going to have a more traditional Tyrell Dodson or Dorian Williams, whichever one is playing better. It's just a situation where they don't get exposed. Their weaknesses is obviously pass coverage, and both those guys can make plays a little bit in the run game. And to limit that exposure, having Taylor Rapp, who's a solid cover line, solid safety, come in, and then just having Poyer, who's a good cover safety, drop down, I think helps your team a lot. And we saw it obviously in Tampa. But it comes down to, I think Poona Ford's played solid the last 2 weeks. Obviously, they're going to get a little bit more tested with Cincinnati and the Eagles, so I don't know, maybe adding another DT won't be the worst idea in the world.
Right. Especially with the Eagles' best offensive line.
I just think corner is the number one concern. It's not anything that Dane Jackson or Christian Benford has specifically done. It's the fact of if one of those guys go down, they're really screwed, it seems like. And I know even if you get Levi Wallace, you'll probably somewhat think that, but adding just a small piece or adding a big piece like Jalen Johnson, I think would be helpful to add some depth to the cornerback position. So that's where I would look at the most. But listen, man, the Bills, Sean McDermott, they're figuring stuff out. a little bit with the defense of what needs to have happen. We saw with the linebacker. I think DT is they're just going to roll with the punches, it seems like. Maybe they add someone for cheap, but I think corner is the one position where if they don't trust Kaiir Elam, they have to add another corner, outside boundary corner.
I would agree. Especially, I mean, I do like Elam, and I wish him the best, but at the same time, he has not proven on the Bills that he's the one to come in and do that. I mean, Benford, same draft class technically, and has been exponentially more productive than Elam has on the field.
Well, I think the frustrating thing for Elam is this, and probably we should discuss this during the actual Elam segment of the Down 5, but we're just pretend we're done with the Down 5 in this Elam segment. He hasn't... There's been a misconception of the struggles of Kaiir Elam. The fact of this, he has not been bad in zone. So people that are like, oh my god, he's a man corner, they tried to make him a zone corner, he's awful. He has not been bad in zone. He's been awful in man. Mm-hmm. And for him,
funnily enough,
that's why I get a little frustrated with all this talk of, oh my god, like they just missed draft pick because he's a system fit. I was like, that could be partially true. I'm not saying it was an exact system fit, like obviously that, but he's actually stood up well in zone coverage. It's man coverage. He's been awful, and that's the thing that was supposed to be his bread and butter. He's too grabby, and he's honestly he's a solid athlete. He's very stiff with the hips, it seems like.
He's not very fluid. He can't
you
really
saw it in the Jags game. Like, they were playing man coverage, and he was getting cooked out there. So I get a little frustrated with people going like, oh, but like... And then, like, I just don't love counting stats. I never will, especially of cornerbacks, because you don't fully know what's... But is he having a safety over the top the whole time? Like you
don't know that specific stuff.
We don't know that well enough. So like when people, I'm not gonna say the name, but like the one dude keeps tweeting out that compared to Christian Benford and Dane Jackson, like actually his counting stats like match up. It's like, yeah, but is he doing his responsibility in run defense? Is he doing his responsibility being prepared for the game where you have trust? Yes. Put the notebook on the plane, but. So a big part of playing is trust. It's the big reason why Levi Wallace, as much as no one seemed to like him, the reason why he was out there is because they trusted him to at least do his job to the best of his ability. Well, whether that ability was good enough to have him be on the field, it was always questioned. But we all knew that, hey, he's a limited cornerback, but we know he's going to be prepared. He's not going to make a mental error.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not going to be like, oh, he's going to screw up that we're supposed to be in man and he played a zone, didn't follow the crosser, and now it's a 30-yard gain down the field.
No, you're not going to get any of that.
I think that's the problem with Kaiir is that the coaching staff truly just doesn't trust him, and he's also just been straight cooked in man. And listen, he's also just hasn't gotten better with the fact of the two biggest knocks that we had on him was tackling, which...
Right as he got drafted, if you go back and listen to that episode, we mention it.
Was that, and that he was very physical, and that he's grabby. And you saw it against the Giants as well, with that PI, like, I don't think he's all, I don't think Kaiir Elam's story with the Bills is over. I don't think his chapter is over. Now, I'm going to say that right now, and we're going to post this, and then an hour later, it's going to be that he's traded for a 6th round pick.
I mean, we're filming this right in the last hour of the trade deadline, before the trade deadline, so.
I think he's got to find a way to add value to the team that's not defense. Like, I think he's got to start learning some special teams. And I don't know. Like, I feel like he needs to be more dependable. And I don't know how that... We're not in the room. We don't know how to give him the answers. But, like...
Yeah. I feel like at this point, he's got to figure it out on himself. He's got to have that come-to-God moment. You know what I mean? Where you're like...
Come to Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, it's just... It's going to be him figuring it out. You're done. It's like sending the kid off. You know what I mean? Like, all right, I've done as much as I can with you. It's time for you to just hit the world and figure it out yourself. He's got to do that. He's got to figure it out himself.
And he has the potential. Like, he has the ability. He's shown it at times, especially at the end of last year. But
he's not just wasted space on the roster. Like, there's a reason.
He was not good in training camp. He wasn't good in the preseason.
Nope.
He got cooked by Calvin Ridley and the Jags.
Yeah.
So, like, it's kind of like every time he comes and plays, like, it's kind of like, oh, this is why he's not playing. Like, everyone gives the coaching staff a lot of crap, but, like, how many tweets can you go back in that Jags game and being like, oh, my God, the coaching staff was right. Like, he's just getting straight cooked out there.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But, like, I still believe that there's something left in him. Like, I still think he could be a contributor to the team, which is why I wouldn't just sell him for biscuits.
Yeah, no, you got to get a return from him,
Because, I don't know, I still think now, if you're telling me I could get Jalen Johnson, the only thing that's holding up is I had to trade Kyrie Elam, like, I would do that. But, like, I wouldn't just trade him for a 5th round pick because I don't think the Bills are in a position where we could trade away a cornerback outside. I need outside boundary cornerback because they have a plethora of nickel corners. I mean,
they do.
Taryn, Saran Neal, even Cam Lewis is kind of now considered. I would consider him a nickel corner. So like they have a plethora of people that can play inside. It's outside that I'm a little bit concerned about, which is why I wouldn't move Kyrie unless I'm upgrading the outside corner.
Right. If you're gonna get a return that fixes that position, yeah, sure, but. I mean, we're sitting in the midst of the final hour right now, right?
I thought it ends at 4.
Or does it end at 4? Oh, well, we got 3 hours then, so I don't know what's gonna happen. We'll see. I mean, what do you foresee? A lot of people are saying they see the Bills making another move other than Leonard Fournette, right? They technically just grabbed him though out of free agency, didn't they? Or is he not playing?
He's on the practice squad.
I know he's on the practice squad. Or what practice squad was he on?
He was a free agent.
Yes. Okay, that's what I was asking. Yeah, because I went onto his Twitter. It's just him playing Call of Duty. So I was like, we're just grabbing a guy who wasn't actively practicing or anything. So I was like, man, maybe we could get him for a stream to play some COD. But anyway,
talking about Leonard Fournette.
Leia, do you think we get anything else before? Like,
we'll talk about Leonard Fournette real fast.
Okay.
I think he's an improvement on Ty Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's better than Latavius Murray right now.
No.
So, yeah, could he get a couple touches and could he improve on Ty Johnson? Sure.
People
guy. Acting like he's like
playoff Lenny.
I guess we'll see. I mean, if he is like good for the Bills, like that's a good pickup. But yeah, I'm not gonna sit up here and be like, oh my god, he's good. Like I'm not gonna overwhelm with it. I love how he played last year. No, because he played. If you look at the statistics, the analytics, he's very similar profile to Dalvin Cook, and we all have. I mean, Dalvin Cook has not worked out for the Jets.
Not at all.
It's a similar situation where, do I think he's an improvement on RB3, and if there is concern that, hey, this neck injury for Damian Harris may be a long-term thing, I'm okay adding insurance. That's whatever. That's a smart move to add some insurance. So
I wouldn't be expecting him to start at all.
I just wanted a brief 30 seconds. So there's people that I know that are saying, oh, he's better than Latavius Murray. Listen, Latavius Murray has had a little bit of a rough go of it at the goal line. Some of it's the shotgun runs. He's getting stuffed a little bit on the short yardage, which we need him to be better at, for sure. But overall, I still like what Latavius Murray has done.
He's got more upside than, what's his name? I just completely lost it. Leonard Fournette. Jeez, that's a senior moment for me at 21 years old. But
21. But going to your point, corner, I just think maybe if the Jalen Johnson thing is so high, like his price is so high because he wants to get paid. There's problems of, because you don't give up significant assets if you're the Bills if you're not going to get him a player back.
Right.
Like the Leonard Williams thing never made sense for me because trading a 2 and a 5 for a guy that you're probably not going to re-sign doesn't make sense. If they traded 2 and a 5 for Jalen Johnson and got a contract extension, that makes sense. But maybe there's concern that Jalen Johnson's kind of, maybe he's talking himself out of the trade market because his contract demands are so high. So at that situation, I would pivot to a lower corner, maybe one of the Panthers corners, again, Levi Wallace. But I would pivot to a corner that you could get for relatively cheap. That's a rental corner at that point.
Yeah.
He's a long-term corner. He would be like you want to lock down. We don't know about Trey White's certainty, his career. We'll lock down that part. But if that's like the home run if they get that. But if they don't, I think adding a depth corner will make sense. But,
yeah, no, I would agree. I just, it's going to be interesting to see what exactly the move is, if there's a move. I mean, you're getting your hopes up that something might come exciting, but I think playoff Lenny might have been the most exciting thing to come out of the weekend, honestly. And again, if you go and look at his Twitter, it's just him streaming on Twitch. So that's all he's been doing recently. So we're gonna see how that goes. Like you said, though, Latavius Murray, I 100% agree, is in a better spot production-wise than Leonard Fournette would be. Maybe he surprises. I don't know. I mean, he could. I have no idea. But I think Latavius Murray is going to stay running back 2 over Leonard Fournette for the rest of the season and postseason. So that's that. But any lingering Bills thoughts here before we travel to a stunner or chat about maybe a stunner in UPL posting a shutout against the so-called hottest team in hockey, the Avalanche?
Let's get right into it.
Yeah, might as well, right? I mean, it's just okay. Sabres play the Devils, right? You're sitting there. You're like, okay, they played hard. They did. They
Josh
lost.
Dobbs got traded to the Vikings, they're saying.
Dobbs did?
Yeah.
Oh, also, Kirk Cousins, real quick. That's horrible, by the way. I have to throw that in there. That's just... Do you think Jameis Winston goes? That's the rumor right now from the Saints to start there. No?
No,
Who,
it's Josh
do you think
Dobbs.
they just...
They just traded for Josh Dobbs.
Oh, Dobbs.
That's what
yeah,
I said.
Duh. Okay, there we go. Never mind. Anyway, all right, Sabres.
Sorry. Well, the Sabres...
Devils,
it's
good
just-
game. Lost, unfortunately.
It's a situation with this with the Sabres.
Yeah.
They played 3 really good games this week.
They
Last week, excuse me. And to go 2-1 is solid. It's tough to not go 2-0-1. This is the most frustrating thing about the Sabres is that they're 4-5, and all 5 of their losses are in regulation, so they haven't even been able to get a point.
No, yeah.
Which I think is frustrating. They haven't even won back-to-back games all year yet. So it's a situation where they need to get hot. Obviously, playing the Flyers back-to-back starting tonight, and then they play them in Buffalo, I believe, on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge moment. Like, those are huge 4 points. Those are 4 points that you got to beat bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
The Flyers are a bad team. They try very hard. You respect them. But, man, that would be huge. But the shutout the Avs is a huge momentum boost. To beat your division rival in Ottawa is huge. I'm frustrated by the Devils result because I think they were better than New Jersey that day.
Yeah.
And for them to not get that done is really quite unfortunate. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to blame UPL coming on, for
I mean, no
Comrie
one
with
foresaw
injury.
Comrie getting injured, but, I mean...
Comrie getting injured is tough because now he's on IR. Levi, it seems like Levi is healthy enough to back up UPL tonight because they put Cooley back down. So maybe we'll get Levi on Friday. But no, it's nice to go 2-1. Obviously, the defense has played really. The team defense has continued to play well, and the offense is coming around. I believe now they're over 50% expected goals for on the year, which is 50% is average. I think they're 52 now.
Yeah,
so that's a good mark. That's an above average team. So I think they're going
to wake up.
I think they're going to wake up. The PK is legit. The PK is now. I think they went 6 for 6 against Avs. The PK I think is legit.
Mm-hmm.
The power play is a struggle. I don't know what to do with power play. It is a situation with this.
Skinner's.
Everyone knows what you want to do. Like, you want to feed Tage.
Yeah.
So then you had to figure out. They just had to figure out a counter to either get. They can't let Tage just sit there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gonna get covered.
That's two issues. Is this they had to figure out a counter without Tage, and they had to figure out how to move Tage around to open up shooting lanes for Tage. Because you just can't let the start. Like, it's like when you double coverage a star receiver. It's not like you're just never gonna throw to the receiver now because he's double coverage. Like, he's still your star wide receiver.
Yeah.
He's still your best power play option. But it's also a situation now where the power play has to wake up a little bit. I think I'm concerned with the goal. Listen, Eric Comrie, man, just can't stay healthy, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah.
And do you have something? Or
yeah, we have a little bit of breaking NFL trade news. Sorry to keep busting in.
It's all right. I saw the phone toss, and I was like...
Yeah, the Pittsburgh Steelers have traded cornerback Levi Wallace, the former Buffalo Bill, and a 2024 6th-round pick to the Washington Commanders in exchange for a 2025 4th-round pick and a 2024 6th-round pick. Nothing exactly, like, groundbreaking necessarily.
So they basically traded Levi Wallace to trade up in the 6th round and got a 4th-round pick.
Precisely.
Yeah, I mean, that'd probably be I don't know. That's an interesting price. But maybe they think they're going to get Jalen Johnson. I saw that they were one of the 4 teams interested in him. So
a lot of the comments are just LOL on the tweet, by the way, announcing that. So I don't know. I don't
know.
I think they would have been more satisfied in firing Canada for the.
I don't know why Washington's buying after they just traded Montez Sweat for a 2nd-round pick, but there we go with that.
Back to the regular schedule.
Back to the regular schedule broadcast. The goalie situation. Listen, UPA played well. I guess it's his opportunity now to be consistent. Hopefully Levi comes back and can get a start here this week to kind of get his season back on track. So the goaltending situation is just going to be inconsistent now, which we kind of already expected it to be. But if they could just be average, I think this team, if the PP can step it up a little bit. The star players, I still think people have not. Tage has gotten incredibly unlucky. I think we still have guys that are still chugging along. Like, I think Casey Millicent and JJ Peterka played really well. And they're a big reason why they've been able to kind of stay afloat with the star player is not playing well. Those guys deserve some flowers. Let's say this. Dahlin is playing elite defense. I know the points are going to tell you that he's having an elite offensive season and all that jazz. And, his point streak, I think he is at 8 games now, which is the longest in franchise history from a defenseman tied with Phil Housley. I don't think he's been special offensively. I think he's just been solid.
Yeah.
And I think he has a level to go there. I actually think Owen Power has been the best Sabres player.
Yes.
I think you can make a case that he's been the best Sabre overall.
I agree.
So I think that's something to really look forward to. Briefly talking about the Zach Benson situation.
Okay.
So Matt Savoy is on a conditioning assignment with Rochester. I think that ends this Friday. I think he's going to come up and get his 9 games. Because they just put
Isn't that what we talked about in the beginning of the season we thought was going to happen?
Yeah, but the situation now, if Benson grows interesting because he was injured, they bring him back, and then he apparently re-injured his injury. That he
did they even designate it?
Lower body,
yeah, of course.
Hockey stuff.
Yeah.
So that makes me a little annoyed because it's all right, dude. If you knew if you knew it was,
why'd you play him?
Why would we play him? I guess, but my situation, because they said he's week to week now. I would think the Sabres are going. I don't think in the calendar year 2023 we are going to see Zach Benson play a game for the Buffalo Sabres in 2023 year.
So by the end of this year, you think he comes back?
The December 31st, we will not see him again.
After that or before that?
Before this.
Yes.
I think he is done for
the remainder of the 2023 part of the
calendar
season.
year.
Yeah.
Because I think what's going to happen is I think he's going to be out a couple of weeks. They're going to send him then back down to Rochester to do the conditioning assignment, which buys you another 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's 5 games. And then by the time that comes around, the Canadian World Junior team is going to start having training camp for the World Juniors in December.
Yeah, because
I think he's then going to be assigned there, which then he'll play for Team Canada, which then happens over that winter time. So I don't think we're going to see Zach Benson for a couple months, which is fine because that keeps him around for the Sabres and keeps him in the organization and not have to go back to juniors yet.
Yeah.
It's going to be weird for his development. And then I think Matt Savoy plays the 9 games, and we'll see maybe if he steps up. I think I'm a little...
Are you nervous about it?
No. I mean, Brandon Byro is currently up. I think he deserves an opportunity to play. I'm a little concerned. My biggest concern with the Sabres, because I think Clifton got suspended 2 games, but I think he's been good. I think Yogi Haru's actually been really solid. My biggest concern, obviously, is still goaltending, because Levi being still maybe banged up, and now you're kind of rolling with UPL because Comrie's out long term, definitely concerns me. My other big concern, and it's we said it ad nauseum, but it's just a little bit more, is that you're just really not getting a lot from Jurgensen and Oposo, and running it back there. I think we're gonna look back and be like, I don't. At the end of the year, I don't know if that's gonna be because you're also not getting a lot from Krebs, and I've been a Krebs defender. I think he's a feisty bomb 6'4", but I always thought there was more. And every time he kind of gets somewhat of an opportunity to play in the top 6,
kind of whiffs a little bit. Yeah,
I don't think he has a point on the season.
No,
or it's like 1 or 2.
Can I break in real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know that Levi Wallace report? Apparently it's fake. So that is. So I tweeted out. So Aaron Quinn mentioned that, he mentioned how mad am I going to be when the Bills swap a late conditional pick to bring Levi Wallace back, whatever. I said Levi to the Commander, so we're all good. He tweets back at me, that was a false report from a fake account. Stay vigilant out there. So yeah, so we gotta keep our eyes straight, keep the tunnel vision going. So we gotta be ready. So I had to break in there for a minute.
No, that's all right.
Continue your thought.
Listen, we fact checked.
Okay.
No, we fact checked. But yeah, I think the power play has got to get going.
Yep.
I think
that's the biggest thing that needs to get going. They're just out there.
They're top down.
Skinner's not good on the power play. I'm sorry. He's not. That's continued. We've talked about that. That might be, maybe they change. Maybe they move something there. I have no idea.
I would put Middlestat.
Casey's not bad on the power play. So I listen.
I kind of would put Middlestat where Cousins is and put Cousins where Skinner is. Yeah. I think they could use a passer, the left-handed shot where Cousins is. God, wow. Cousins is.
Yeah, there you go.
And I think Cousins would be a good down-low player that can pass from the goal line. But Middlestat's an elite playmaker. And I think having him in that spot where Cousins, and then having Cousins replace Skinner, they'll never do it.
No.
But yeah, I would agree. I think that's the situation they need to do. I'm excited for the Sabres because I think this last week they've played really well.
Yeah, they've shown the flashes of the team they ended last season.
They just have to start, even when they lose,
consistent.
They had to get a point.
Yeah,
they had to start getting, take it to overtime at worst. They had to play better in the third period. They lost the game against Montreal because of that. They lost the game because of Devils because of that. Like, that's and they lost that close game to the Islanders as well. So they had really 3 losses where it's like, man, if you had just played better, that game was up for grabs in the third period.
Yeah,
and it just didn't. And they almost really choked against the Senators. So I think it's a situation where I'm excited for what's going to happen this week. I'm really on them. I think this is the time where they go above 500 on the season. Obviously, they're 4-5, so obviously
they're close.
Obviously, we're 10% of the way through the season already, which is kind of a little.
Isn't that wild to think
about? 10. I should say about
10%. Yeah,
it's not fully 10%.
Well, I mean, look at this point. You know what the Sabres are capable of, right? You watched them last season. They're the same team. Even better in some spots.
Well, Tage is playing defense this year.
Yeah,
it's legit. It's not fluky or anything.
No.
It's legit.
He's playing defense, and that's a huge upside for Tage, where we didn't see a lot of that last year, and we've commented on that quite a bit. The Sabres have the opportunity this season. They missed by a point after dropping 8 games in November last year. They need to get above 500 and stay above 500. That's your goal. That'll get you into the playoffs, right? I mean, if you're consistently staying above 500, putting points up, and like you said, yeah, you're going to lose some games, but get the 1 point when you're losing games. Like that's where it's going to come down to. And in a tough division, tough conference, tight conference, like it's one of the most competitive conferences in hockey. Like that's unfortunately where the Sabres are at this point. You have a lot of old good teams that are continuing to be good, and you have a lot of young teams that are really starting to put themselves together, like the Sabres, and they're just clashing. Like that's just what you're getting.
It's a tough division, but they play. I'm sorry, they play Wednesday.
They play tomorrow.
I keep thinking they play today.
They play the Flyers tomorrow.
It's probably because I read that text at midnight. This morning, and read that as incorrect. I read that incorrect. They play. I was confused. I was like, TNT usually does a Wednesday game. So that is a primetime, quote unquote primetime game. I don't know if it's called that. National televised game, I should say.
Yes.
So they play Wednesday in Philadelphia, home against Philadelphia on Friday, and then that's the back-to-back because they play in Toronto for their first game on Saturday. So I'm gonna go 2-0-1. I think they're gonna sweep the Flyers, and then they're gonna. I don't want to go 3-0 because I think I'll just get hurt by that. But I think they play the Leafs tough and get at least a point out of that. So I think they get 5 out of 6 this week.
I think they beat all 3 teams. I think they get 6 points. I think they go on their run.
The Flyers are a team that they got to get those 4 points.
Yeah, but I think the Maple Leafs are going to get surprised by the Sabres. I think you've seen Skinner this season on 5-on-5 mangling teams, absolutely mangling teams. He's going to mangle the Maple Leafs. The power play he's going to be moved off of by that point, hopefully. And we're gonna see some middle stat production. I mean, listen,
who's the player we're talking about? Who's the player we're talking about after this week? I'm gonna go Owen Power. We talked about him.
Yeah, I mean,
I think there's a lot of people that praise him, but I think he's gonna get points in all 3 games, and I think he's gonna get 5 points in 3 games.
I think we talk about Thompson because he has another one of those games where he gets 4 goals in the first period.
Jeez.
I think against the Flyers, I think we see another.
That's not
I think we see Tomer come back, the one Tomer. You know what I mean? I think we see him come back. Come on. I feel like we have to. I mean, we've seen it. Rizzler stat is out there, middle stat. He's still cooking out there. So come on.
Toothless. He's lost a tooth.
Yes. Come on. He's got the fire in him. Let's go.
That dog in him.
He's got that dog in him. He's got the dog with the missing tooth. Come on. Listen, I do think, though, I think we're on the up and up for the Sabres season. It's good to get the kinks out in the beginning, be just a game under 500 starting out in the first 10 games, really. So I'm happy with where they're at this point, and they're showing promise going into these next 3 games that we're going to talk about. So you want to do a quick fantasy rundown if we have time? Quick. I'll let you take it. I mean, listen.
Quickly, we'll go this.
Yeah.
The producer took a rough foul this week. He falls to 2-6. Now he's in sole possession of last place. He does play, however, this guy. You're 3-5, right?
3-5 now. Yeah.
3-5. You get a big time win against a team that was 6-1, the top team in the league. Took him down.
We're looking up.
You had the Detroit kicker Patterson and Gibbs versus Laporta, and obviously the disgruntled.
I was worried about Laporta and Adams. Once Laporta scored the tutty, I was like, oh, man.
But you got the job done. I needed 10.4 points from Amon-Ra St. Brown to survive. It happens. One of our brothers the two brothers were playing each other. The one brother needed 15.3 points from Josh Jacobs, and Josh Jacobs scored 16.3 points late in the fourth quarter on a catch for like 15 yards to beat the one, and the other one is incredibly salty about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Obviously, there was another close-ish matchup where someone needed Jacoby Myers, I believe, to score 13 points, and he scored like 3. So that's a tough result. But there's, I believe, 2 teams that are 5-3, 2 teams that are 6-2, 1 team that is 4-4, 1 team that is 2-6, which is dead last. And then there are 4 teams that are 3-5. It is a big week. It is a 3-5 versus a 3-5 this week. Obviously, we have Joe versus Mooch, which is 3-5 versus 2-6. So a lot can be, after week 9 going into week 10, the last 5 games of the year, we'll know a lot more about the bottom half of the league and how that could potentially shake out. And the chances for multiple people to do the punishment, I think, maybe at an all-time high after.
Yeah, it is. Listen,
especially if you lose,
then
there's
tied.
3 teams that are going to be tied for last.
Yeah,
it is.
No, it's getting exciting.
Get your popcorn ready.
Like
get some butter, get some caramel popcorn. That's always the best underrated popcorn.
Mm-hmm. No, listen. The season is long, okay, and we're at the point in the season now where it's getting interesting, and teams are. The projections just truly show that nothing really matters because I was projected to lose that game by 20 points.
Listen, man, any given Sunday in fantasy football, the parity in the league, all-time high.
The what?
The parity.
The parody?
You know what parody means?
Yeah, like the fake version of something.
No, parody.
Parody?
Like anyone could beat anyone.
Oh.
You've never heard that word before?
No, I've heard parody like a parody film, like you know what I mean, like that kind of stuff, like a song parody.
Yeah. The parity, the state or condition of being equal.
Oh, well, interesting. I didn't know that.
Every team's close to being equal. It's like the NFL.
It is. There's a lot of ties right now. Yeah. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But that's going to do it for this edition of the Buffalonian podcast. I'm Joe Callie. As always, I'm joined by none other than Dom Lawson. Thank you to our producer, Mooch, back there. Fantastic job rolling the highlights and doing the Dom 5 and even the phone toss for the fake trade. I mean, come on, like come on, he's out there doing work. So, but Dom, how do we always end these, buddy?
Go Bills, baby.
Go Bills.